Liz Larson.
And I'm Bill McKenna.
And together, we created the Cogno Movement System. And we'd like to welcome you to the New Life Perspectives radio show,
where we're going to be sharing with you tools, tips, and ideas that are going to change your life.
Hello in UK Health Radio Land. I'm Liz Larson, and I'm here with my friend,
Bill McKenna.
Hey, Bill McKenna. And we're the pair that hosts the New Life Perspectives radio show. And we also happen to create the Cogno Movement System. And today, Bill and I are both so excited because we get to have on the show one of our good friends, a friend of the show and ours personally, Cyndi Dale, who is the author of 30 plus books. Can you imagine? I don't know how she had any time to live. And she also looks like she's 25. So 30 plus books. And she's an energy healer and teacher. So welcome, Cyndi.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I don't really know how I wrote all those books either. I think sometimes you blank out parts of your life that were sort of stressful and you just reap the rewards for them.
It's absolutely incredible. We're reworking one of our books now, and the time consumption is crazy. So we are just so amazed by anyone who can get that volume out. So, and they're all really cool. If you're in the listening audience today and you have not picked up a Cyndi Dale book, look for them. They're really, really great and fun. If you can't tell by her voice, Cyndi's a lot of fun. So, Cyndi, we wanted to ask you some questions. This is, about health, our show, the UK Health Radio Network show. And your topic for the day is clairvoyance. Dun, dun, dun.
I know it's a big word. It's a mouthful. It literally means clear seeing. And it's been captured by the New Age for so many years and decades that I think sometimes we assume we know what it means to be clairvoyant, and we don't really unpack the capability or the word often enough.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It really does mean that, doesn't it? Clear seeing. And who of us doesn't want to be more aware of our surroundings, be able to see clearly everything that's happening in our life? So thank you for that definition, because that really does bring it back down to earth. And I had one other question about this, about the word clairvoyance. People find it a bit scary sometimes, don't they?
They often do. And yet, in my experience, in terms of it being an intuitive gift, an intuitive faculty, I'm avoiding the word psychic because that scares people a lot. Oh my God, do I really want to be psychic? What if I see things I don't want to see? What if I know things I don't want to know? What if I want to know something and I don't get anything about it? I mean, that's what gets set up sort of like gallops inside of our heart that makes our heart race. It can be scary because there's a lot of perceptions of clairvoyance that are exactly like those questions I just raised. What can I be? Am I? What if I'm not? And, I've had a lot of clients from really 5 years old to 95 who either don't think they're clairvoyant or they're nervous about it because there is that component of, what if I see what I don't want to see? What if I see an accident coming for a friend? Do I tell them? Do I warn them? There's an awful lot when we're talking about intuition that can get our heart thumping.
Are we talking about things like, when a mom, all of a sudden her spidey senses go off and she knows something's wrong with her child? Are we talking about that? You kind of know when your best friend's going to call you. Are we talking about that?
We are. So let's really ground it with examples like that. In fact, I taught a class probably 25 years ago, one of my first classes teaching people intuition. And there's many types of clairvoyance, just being visual with our physical eyes and our inside of our mind's eye, is just one style. But I remember a girlfriend of mine, she had 3 little kids. One was a baby just crawling, coming to my class. She came back the second time. She goes, oh my gosh, I just had this bizarre feeling that my son Craig was going to get in trouble. I got a picture in my mind's eye of everybody's got, this closet, the towel closet. Mine is a mess always. I think hers was too. She goes, I just saw my towel closet inside of my mind's eye. I ran to it. He was underneath it, in the bottom. I grabbed him and everything fell. All the drawers fell, all the towels fell, and he would have been really hurt. So most of the time, intuition is really just functional. It's the sense that we get, the feeling that we get. We just have we just know something. I'll give you a fun example. I was working with a client and he brought up his dog, Carl. All right, his dog, Carl. I check in on his dogs. He's a farmer. And he was like, Carl is 1 year old, but he's really a bad sheep dog. He doesn't like sheep. He doesn't like the farm. He doesn't want it. He escapes the barn. He wants to come inside, but we need a sheepdog, not a Carl dog. And I could feel Carl reaching out to me. And I'm like, oh my, I think Carl wants to come live with me. You can't prove all these things. I could picture Carl, right? And so I get off the phone. I talk about it with my little committee of, kids and, their people and my friends. And my son Gabe just says, Mom, I don't know what the big deal is. Carl's going to end up being my dog anyway. So what are you so worried about? It's not like you're going to get stuck with Carl for 15 years. So those are really normal ways we work with our intuition. And it's just so fun because it gives us a great adventure to steer with our intuition.
Wow. It seems like what a awesome gift that you're helping people to help blossom. And I wanted to tell a story about and see, if you find this to be true. And I think people may resonate that are listening. It was when I was only 8 or 9 years old, and my dad, and he said, okay, get in the car. We're going to run some errands. And I walked over to the car, and I can still remember it as clear as day. I touched the door handle, and as soon as I touched the door handle, we're going to get in an accident. And I was like, that's the weirdest possible thing, because as a little boy, you don't think these things. And I open the door, I get in, we're driving around, and it was about 20 minutes later, he pulls out, boom, we get T-boned in a blind kind of intersection deal. And I remember I was freaked out. Did I cause this? And I got out of the car. I'm walking to my house, and I can still remember to this day, I was like, take this from me. I can't handle this. I cannot deal with this lifetime. And I was only 8 or 9 years old, and boom, it shut off. And I never experienced it again until the kind of things began to happen later on in life. But I guess my thing is that it kind of freaked people out, and you think, are we responsible? What do you think?
And that's ultimately when we're picking up on something. And, it's important and helpful, I think, to decrease the fear by knowing how intuition works. We are 99.999% subtle energy. That means invisible. Less than 0.1% of who we are and what's in this world is physical or measurable. So the truth is we're already intuitive. We already sense things, feel things. Science has shown that we predict an event that's going to happen, even if you don't think you're intuitive, at least a few seconds before something happens. Almost everybody's bodies respond as if it's already happened. It's part of our programming, it's part of our makeup. And it is scary because it's not taught, it's not very well understood. And so it's very common for everybody to think, because I sensed, thought, dreamed about this, knew, predicted, whatever it is, because I was woken up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, and I knew something was going to happen, I caused it. But we don't. Time, the past, potential, present, concurrent realities, possible futures are really all intersected in the here and now. And so we really only become alert to something for two good reasons that's more futuristic. A, if it's really sort of already landed, which means we didn't cause it, it's already there in the stream, or if we could potentially change it. And so, or add to it or improve it. I'll give you an example of something too that was locked in time and space a few years ago. A lot of my clients picked up on, and they couldn't prevent it, but they assisted. I'm in Minneapolis several years ago. There was a bridge that went down over a river. And, our infrastructure in America is not so good. I hope it's better other places in the world, but we're trying to work on it. I had several clients the day after that occurred tell me, I dreamed about that. I was worried about you. I was thinking about Minneapolis. And to the one, they all had this sense to just pray. And it doesn't need to be a religious activity, to just ask for help. They all saw a bridge going down, like 5 people. I woke up in the middle of the night feeling something was up, but I didn't know what. So I just said, whatever the powers that be, please help. That bridge could have been so dangerous in the wake it left. There was actually a school bus that just made it over the bridge before it collapsed. Nobody died. So even if we're sensing, seeing, dreaming about, feeling that something concretely horrible and unimaginable could happen, because we're interactive, we're made out of subtle energy. We're made out of fields of subtle energy. It doesn't do any good to sit around and think, oh, am I causing it? Can I stop it? You can ask, is there anything I can do? But we always have the right to just say, let there be grace. Let me bring in hope, even when we feel like we're going to be ill, like talk about healthcare, or we are ill, or we feel somebody's going to get sick. We always can sit there and just say, how can I improve matters? And I think that helps take the sting out of the capabilities we all have.
That is wonderful. Isn't it amazing? The field you're in and the work you do, 5 separate people that all contacting you and saying this. I mean, it really is a testament to your work that you do to help people's intuition wake up. When you have literally, think about this audience, 5 separate people all saying they dreamed or knew somehow that the bridge was going to collapse. I mean, that is crazy, beyond crazy coincidence. If you think about the odds, the mathematical odds of any one of them being correct about a bridge collapsing, and then you multiply that times 5, that's a testament to the work that you're doing, Cyndi, with helping people to open their intuition. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you're interested in doing some work like this, boy, I tell you what, she has put out, like I say, 30 books on 30 books that you can get today to start to help to build, not to mention all the great other things. You got to tune in at the end. She's got a special gift for you that's coming up. At the end, she's going to give you a technique. This is like a Cracker Jack box. There's this prize in every episode, and we're so honored to have her with us today to give you a technique right at the end so you can see that bridge too beforehand. So UK Health Radio, take it away, and we're going to be right back.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
And we're back. We're chatting with Cyndi Dale. And today, Cyndi does a lot of things. She teaches about a lot of things. But today we're talking about clairvoyance, intuition. And we started the conversation with that it's scary for some people, but it's actually quite natural. And that so many of us experience it at least once or twice in our lives. But for you, Cyndi, this has been obviously an ongoing thing. Where did it start for you?
I was a weird kid. I was, Bill, previous to the break, shared the story of touching the car and going, oh my. I mean, if we look back, we could all say we were weird kids, I think, maybe just in different ways. All right. So I was that kid. I first remember living in Huntsville, Alabama when I was about 3, and we lived there several times, but I was, I have got clear memories of having dreams that came true, seeing spirits, ghosts, hearing things, watching the colors around my parents. And, I skedaddled if I saw this kind of certain type of red around my mother because I knew somebody was going to get in trouble and I didn't want it to be me. If my dad came home from work and he had this sort of brown, yellowish color around him, I knew he was going to drink more than one martini, and then my parents would fight. So think about how many of us really are intuitive. Maybe we don't always get the images like I did with my eyes and also inside of myself, but you get senses or feelings or hear voices or words, or you have your own inner self talk to you. So I was just one of those kids who could do all that stuff. And I thought it was normal, until my parents told me it wasn't. And not only did they tell me it wasn't normal, but it was satanic. And in the Protestant church, that was, kind of something that would get you locked up or sent to an insane asylum or, whatever it was. I'm going to share a funny story about that. My parents really did often tell me, well, that could send you to an asylum. And I remember thinking inside, know what an asylum is, but it sounds like there's a whole bunch of really cool people in it. Years later, I'm 19. I moved to Hartford, Connecticut, because I'm on my own for college. My parents divorced, and I just lived there for 6 months. I worked at Munson's Candy Kitchen in Hartford, Connecticut, and on a street called Asylum Street. And actually, people would escape the asylum and come in for candy. So sometimes these, they talk about the law of attraction, that you get what you're thinking about. I was like, well, they were really cool people in the asylum. So, I had to, kind of learn to hide my abilities after a time until I really knew that I had to develop them. And like any intuitive gift, it really pays to develop them, to learn boundaries, because when we learn that we're in charge of these capabilities, we know what to do when we get an image or a sense or a picture, and we can decide what's for us and what belongs to somebody else. And that is so beneficial for anybody, but especially people who might be struggling with their health. I know the two of you agree with this, but a lot of times what's creating disease or lack of balance in our lives really might not even be our energy.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me. I share some similarities with you being a weird kid and being that kind of a person that, people would ask me questions that I had no business knowing the answer to. And I know this happened before 5 years old. And then some of those other things that you're talking about, I had to learn too. There's things it's okay to talk about and there's things they're not. So over time, I just became this person that everyone asked advice to. It seemed like I had the signpost on my forehead. Grown-ups would ask me, and my answer was always like, I don't know. Oh, actually, I do. Then when I was in high school, they assigned me to be like the Dear Abby of the newspaper. And nobody knew it was me. It was anonymous. Everyone thought it was the school counselor. I would get these things and I would know how to answer them. When we had festivals at school, they always assigned me to be a fortune teller. It was like the signpost was on my head. I couldn't hide it if I wanted to. But what I learned to do, because my family was very religious also, is I was the advice giver. That's acceptable. So if you're hearing my voice out there and you're that person that everyone seems to come to you because you just seem to have the answer, something practical, something useful, something that they can help change their life. They feel stronger when they're with you because they feel safe that you have an answer for them. You may be experiencing what Cyndi and Bill and I might now call clairvoyance, but maybe you just have a natural aptitude for what Bill and I would call it is reading their field of potential, their nervous system, realistically, what's happening in the pattern. And Bill and I have realized that the solution and the problem are often in the very same place, in the field and in the body. So maybe that's just you have better sensors than normal for seeing what that is and quickly knowing the solution. So how do you feel about that, Cyndi, about people who just seem to know the answer?
Well, it's really important to know that there are many flavors, sort of like Baskin and Robbins, if they're still around. I was raised with 31 flavors of ice cream. Now there's more types. There's many flavors of clairvoyance. It's really all about knowing and receiving from inside of ourselves or outside intuitive information, subtle energy, subtle information. And then we decipher it our own way. So some of us get messages in and through our physical body. You're sitting next to somebody who's in pain and you're in pain, right? Or your body gives you messages about pain. You're going, I don't know, my knee, there's no reason for my knee to hurt. And in a week, you fall down and have a knee problem. Maybe you pick up on feelings or emotions or empathy or knowing, or you're that person, like you're saying, who has the empathic consciousness and you can put it into good words. And maybe you get dreams. Maybe you get signs with your eyes. One of my sons is really visual with license plates. Like he gets all his messages from license plates. And I wasn't even thinking about that when I was talking to his advisor, who I'm working on, his anxiety advisor, who I'm working on a project with. And I was on the phone with her and I was in my car and I saw these license plates and I go, oh, we have to do this. We have to do this. She goes, what is it with the two of you? So part of the fun of intuition is starting to assess how people look at you, what they want from you, how you get data, how you play with it, and maybe try on a couple different styles as well. Bill, what would you say your main style is at this time? I'm curious.
Oh gosh. I would call it just knowing. Mine has kind of, I guess, I didn't really ever think of it, but I guess that's what I was born with, right? When I touched the handle, that was knowing. I didn't have a vision. I didn't hear anything. I just simply, it's like, the car will, you just know. And so that would be number one. Number two, as things have developed, the visions, getting pops of a pop of a vision, just very, very quickly, and dreams, as things come through in dreams, and finally, it is actually again kind of unaware, but a feeling like literally. All my life, I have, had feelings. I thought they were mine, but I will pick up on what other people are feeling without a word being said. I don't think I'm unique in that, though. What do you think? Is that Is that a real common one?
Oh, yeah. We're wired for empathy neurologically. And I know the two of you work a lot with the nervous system and the different parts of the nervous system. You know, even at day 49, by day 49 in embryology, that heart is forming, there's cells within the little tiny heart that are called glial cells that are going up into the brain to create forms of empathy. We're wired for empathy. And so people tend to discount it though and go, well, that's not intuition. But of course it is, because we're picking up through our greater energy field, which is mainly subtle. It's mainly this intuitive field. You know, we're picking up stuff from other people that they're not saying, they're not showing it with their body language. They may not even be near us. They could be halfway across the world and we know what they're feeling. That's how the subtle energy fields interact. And, you know, a fun point to make too is sometimes we work with our intuition or it pops in different ways depending on the people we're interacting. For instance, my oldest son doesn't want anything to do with like the woo-woo stuff. He's like, Mom, I don't want to go there. I was raised with it. I don't want to know it. However, starting a few years ago, he and his now wife, they've been together 9 years. I just had this weird feeling I was supposed to buy them a red waffle maker. Who thinks about a red waffle maker, right? I get this picture of a red waffle maker. It's not for me. I don't cook. I'm not going to even cook a waffle in a waffle maker. So I go online and I order from Williams-Sonoma. It's a high-end, a red Breville waffle maker and have it delivered. A week later, they call me like, did you buy us a red Breville waffle maker? I go, yeah. And they said, this is so weird because 2-3 weeks ago, we were talking about wanting it. So for years, I didn't always get an image. I would get a feeling of, I think they need a new knife set. I think they need this. And I literally outfitted their kitchen with my intuition. And they just loved it. They would never tell me what they needed because I would just feel it or sense it and order it and show up. Now I do it for their dog, who likes any toy. It doesn't really matter. But they don't need more kitchen materials. They've got them all. But I do think it's funny when I visited them a couple years ago for Thanksgiving, of course, their refrigerator broke down. So we needed to go get a new refrigerator. So we can use our intuition in different ways with different people too.
Do you think that's a big part of the learning curve, is learning how to decode? Like you said, your son and you do license plates. There's a code there that somehow his particular setup, I think it's kind of a physical setup, like your neurons fire and they receive and send information so his particular setup has a built-in decoder. Do you think that's part of it, learning to decode the information?
It's totally about that. And I agree that it's physical. I often connect different ways of intuition to the chakras, which are subtle energy centers. But you know what? Thousands of years ago, people just perceived the body through intuition. And so these chakras are based in the neurological system. They're based in the endocrine glands. They're based in the vertebrae. Even the ones I work with outside of the body intersect in the physical body. We're unique physiologically. And so why would we not be unique intuitively? So it's really sort of a mastering of your own self-knowledge. So you can play with it. Even if I try to teach people how to get dreams, how to interpret your dreams, we're all going to do it differently because we are very unique in terms of our codes. So it's, what are our codes?
Wow. Well, you know what I really love about this is that Cyndi is so very, very practical. We're talking about, there's people who out there who, talk about things that are woo-woo, but you know what? We're living here on the planet Earth. We're going to the grocery store. We're shopping. We have families and everything. So really, ultimately, is it going to be practical in my life? Can I find a way to close the house, to get the car, to help to make somebody happier in my life, to make my life go smoother? And that is really one of the things that I just love about Cyndi, is that she takes it and she brings it home. making it not only something that you can learn right now, but also take it and utilize it today to improve your life. We got to take another break. We got UK Health Radio, our sponsors. Take it away.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
And we're back. We're having the most fun chat with Cyndi Dale, author and energy healer and teacher. And I just want to piggyback on something Bill said about that. Cyndi brings it, really down to earth and the practical. I mean, it's fantastic and fun and sparkly, and the unicorns are all there. But this is one of those things that personally, as a teacher, I'm really passionate about. Bringing it down to earth into the practical, into the body. A lot of times I found myself telling someone where they're like, oh my gosh, I've got all these things going on. Okay, so you're built that way. Let's figure out how to use it. And I love that you're doing that, Cyndi, because I think some people are not served by the fight or flight that they go into about this. Like, oh my God, does this mean I've got to give messages to people on the street, like the Long Island medium? Oh my God, does this mean I'm going to get kicked out of my church? Like, oh my God, do I start having to wear, all the rings and the turban and and become the fortune teller? So I love that about you so much, that you do bring it down into here's what you do, here's how you decode, and here's what's practical, and everyone gets to experience all the sparkles and the unicorns. So I know that you had offered to do a little mini session with people to kind of have a taste of this. So would you set that up for us?
I absolutely would love to. And I want each of us to just be open to how our intuition is going to give us an insight and help us open to healing energy. I mean, we all need healing for something, right? We're all looking for a little bit more wholeness, a little bit more groundedness, a way to feel better emotionally or physically. And so just so you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to guide us into the very center of our heart area. Not the physical heart, but what's called the heart chakra in the center of your chest. It's where most of your love energy is sitting. So I'm going to bring you into that chamber, and then I'm going to help you focus on a particular desire, a need, and then we're just going to open up to some intuitive insights, and you're going to help yourself feel how an intuitive flow can improve a feeling, an emotion, give you an answer, ease a pain in your body. So we're just going to really walk through how to use intuition to feel better. So how's that sound?
Excellent. Let's go.
All right. So don't right now in this minute care about what your focus is going to be, because sometimes intuition will even give you a good focus when you're in a process. Instead, just take a couple deep breaths. In many cultures, the words for breath and spirit are one and the same. So now as you inhale, you're acknowledging your own essence, your own spirit. And as you exhale, you're giving permission for your own spirit, greater spirit, to take from you whatever you're ready to let go of. And then allow yourself to settle into a normal cadence with your breath. Feel your feet on the ground or on the floor, your chest held back, your neck high, and then bring your focus into the very center of your chest. Just trust that your own essence, your own spirit knows that deep inside there is a chamber of light, a chamber of sound, a chamber that holds all the codes of who you are from a divine and human perspective. So as a way is made for you to be in there, just kind of linger and stretch, occupy that space. Trust that whatever you believe in, that you would call a set of spiritual allies, are here to support you. And whatever you would call a greater presence or a holiness is here to do the work for you. And don't you feel more relaxed? Whatever else you feel, just accept it. The body can have anything going on that it needs to have going on, even while you're in this place of holiness and this temple inside. So in here, pose a question or create a focus. It can be wild and big, unique, small. Nobody's going to judge what it is you would like to have shifted or receive insight about. Create that focus or that subject and know that because of the way time and space is organized, whatever is needed to respond to a question, to alleviate a concern, to free you, is already available. And you can begin to sense that, the response, the answer, the healing energy emanating from the very center of that chamber, through it in 360 degrees. Ripples, emanations, as if from the center of the sun you are, all the sunshine you need is just rippling forward. And while healing and maybe even manifesting or answers are just coming through you, you can just kind of stop inside of there for a minute and just ask if your own spirit can give you an image, a psychic image, a set of words, a memory, a knowing, or a feeling about what you've requested. An image, a set of words, a memory, a knowing, or a feeling. I just want you to breathe into however that energy comes in response. And just accept it. And maybe you have a follow-on question or desire. See, this is your energy and your codes responding to you. So ask another question. Ask for something deeper. Ask for something new. Shift your focus or open up what you've already been looking at or examining and see if something else comes to you. Another image, set of words, memory, knowing, or feeling. And whatever comes to you, just release it. And with that, even more healing energies emanate from that very, very core of you, that inner chamber through and around you to go anywhere they need to go, to assist, to help, to boost. And know that once you've opened up this way, the world will respond. Maybe you're going to get more signs. Somebody telling you something in the next 24 hours, a dream, a book that lands in your lap. The environment will give you even more of what you need to know. Relax, breathe deep. You can remain centered here in this heart chamber. Even as you feel your feet again, hold your chest out, occupy your space, and know that you can return fully to your everyday world and life.
Ah, that was gorgeous. Beautiful. All right, you guys. Let us know if you did this and you received some messages, and then watch throughout the next couple of days and see what shifts and changes, see what else you get. So, Cyndi, where can people reach out to you if they wanted to share what they saw?
It's very easy. CyndiDale.com is my website. It's spelled weird, CYNDIDALE. ndidale.com. And there's emails that you can contact through there, and you can just see, kind of what I'm up to in my world too.
So do you notice when people start to learn this, so they maybe have some skills already or suspect they do, and then they start to learn, what happens next? Does the thing get bigger now that they're putting their attention on it? Like, what happens?
It gets bigger, and it gets kind of more like a whirligig. Those, I used to play with them when I was a kid, the fans that have all these colors on them, pinwheels. It gets to be like a pinwheel. So even if you're more used to getting knowledge, maybe through your knowing, or because you just know if somebody's ill or not, or you feel their feelings, your inside self gets excited and starts to bring data to you in additional ways as well. So I just love kind of interacting internally, but also with the world. So let's say there's something that I want to know. I may do something, of the nature, I call it a 3-day vision quest. I'll say, I need insight about XYZ over the next 3 days. And then I just stay open. Will I get a dream? Will I write a poem and it's got an answer for me? Do I see a tree full of crows and I know that crows are about change? And, they've shown up for me. It's kind of magical thinking, but the world is magical as well. So we tend to get more insight. We get clearer. We often expand the different ways that our intuitive sense works. And we also develop better boundaries. It gets much easier to go, that is not my feeling. That is their feeling. It's not my job to fix it for XYZ. Or I feel really uncomfortable around this person. Maybe I'll go to the bathroom and then leave or whatever it's going to be. So respect your body senses. Those are intuitive messages, and respond to them, and you'll get more insights that keep you safe and allow you, to kind of get, inspired.
Now, Cyndi, there is a way that everybody can participate and kind of super accelerate this, right? You have a program going on the Shift Network. We love the Shift Network, and we want to tell everybody about this. It's a multi-week course. If you could tell us about what is it and what do you get in this course?
So I'm rubbing my hands together because I absolutely love teaching clairvoyance and intuition. It is an advanced clairvoyant course. You do not need to be advanced. I say that it's advanced because it's so in depth. It's a 7-week course starting May 3rd through the Shift Network. And you can go on my site to find out about it, or Google Cyndi Dale Shift Network Advanced Clairvoyance. So we meet 7 times and you get to practice what we're preaching also. I'm going to cover all the different forms of clairvoyance, how they work, what they do, what the science is, because I'm a geek person. I think our brain goes along with intuition better if it understands what's happening. And so we're going to work on getting colored pictures or images of black, white, and gray to make decisions, or how to turn a physical sensation into an image, or how to just trust the physical sensations that you do get. I have never been able to spend this much time helping people unpack clairvoyance in all these different ways, which is what really excites me, because it's my nerdy place to teach and to help people open up who they are and, why you want to use this for yourself too.
Can you imagine, everybody? 7 weeks live with Cyndi Dale. If you want your intuition to get turned on and tuned in, now this course is really super economical too. The way Shift does it is because they're a global operation, they bring in so many people to take the course that they can offer it at a really low price. That's what they do. And so you could never get Cyndi to teach it for 7 weeks, at the price that Okay, so it's super economical. It's a real doable deal. And it's online as well. It is how exciting for you.
I love their pricing. They give you bonuses. You download everything. You can show up and do the practice groups right after I do the teaching, again, this should be affordable for everybody because we're all intuitive. So we have these inner faculties. Let's open them up. They turn into, wings with which you can fly.
So awesome. So awesome. We have run out of time. Liz Larson, take us away.
Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun and it went by way too fast. We'll definitely be talking to Cyndi again soon. So don't worry, everybody out there. So until next time, be safe and be well. And let us know what happens next. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for being here with us on the New Life Perspective radio show. For more information or to find out more about the work that Bill and I do, please visit us at cognomovement.com or email us at info@cognomovement.com. See you again soon.